Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soul Sanctuary. Today's theme is about ancestral trauma, and it's something that I've been really interested in ever since I actually decided to move back to the Netherlands from Bali, which was quite interesting because I would never imagine to still be here in the Netherlands because I thought would only be for 3 months. But then reality turned out differently, and here I am. I'm still here in the Netherlands. But from what I can see now, it was for a bigger reason and it's for a bigger purpose, because this time is really about healing these patterns and seeing that your caretakers are coming with a certain package in the world because of their upbringing, and you also get this package from them. Whether we like it or not, it's really something that just is, and we get to decide if we want to unpack that or not. But this week it has been the theme around healing ancestral trauma, because my family had this beautiful talk together, and for the first time I learned a lot about their past, how their upbringing was. And I realized that a lot of the patterns that we were talking about and we were addressing, they were quite similar. And I can see how that is also playing out in my life and how that has been playing out in my relationships, because I have had a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, which means I was really scared to say no. I would rather say yes because I would just want it to be liked more, instead of really learning how it feels like to stand in my own truth. I would be really scared that if I would say no, people would leave me. Yeah, so I could see how the patterns that were evident in the household of my mom, they were also evident within me. For example, my mom, she was always longing for this love from her mother. And I can see that I've also kind of longed for that in my ways. But from now, where I am now in my life, I realize that when we get this awareness of those patterns, this longing, we can give that love to ourselves. We can give that support to ourselves. And that's how we are kind of mothering ourselves, and we give ourselves what we actually need. So, okay, back to these patterns. So the people-pleasing pattern, I could see it in my relationship, how it would play out, how I would always had to lower my voice in order to not create any conflict. I kind of had to learn that way because I feel that this has been part of my lineage, that we couldn't have a big voice. We couldn't really voice our own needs and wants because their conflict will be created. So I don't always know how to express what I actually need. So this is something that I have to work through, because it was something that that also has been evident in my family. So yeah, the reason why I actually came onto this topic is because it has been a big topic in my life. So when I moved back here in the Netherlands, a lot of my childhood traumas were exposed, and I had no clue what was happening to me. There would be situations with my family and I was feeling like, why am I actually being angry? Like, there's not really so much to be angry about. But I noticed that I was responding out of my inner child. Like, my inner child was basically coming out and, showing up. But I had no clue that I was basically repeating the same patterns. So there was a lot of conflict where I was figuring out that it was actually from my past. Because you see, when you actually leave your household, when you live abroad, for example, whatever it is, you get to experience who you are as a person without this, all the package of the family, let's say, and you are kind of developing your own character more and more. So when I came back, it felt like my life became so small, and I was just figuring out why I was reacting the way I would react, really. So these past 3 years have been a lot about unpacking these patterns and understanding these patterns, and actually being really curious how these patterns play out within myself and how they play out in relation with other people, with the people that are around me. One thing that I've also noticed is that I've been the only child. So when you're the only child, that also comes with a certain package, I feel, that I'm figuring out. Because when you're the only child, you really learn how to rely on yourself, which is a good thing, because you know that you can always count on yourself, which is the most important thing. But it also sometimes creates this hyper individuality, and this hyper I can do it all by myself. And sometimes we're not really meant to do things all by ourselves. We need help, we need reflection with people. So I'm really learning when it's time to reach out to people, when I go through a certain challenging time and they can reflect with me from a healthy way. It's not like I'm depending on it, but I also realize that community is really important. So it's interesting how you can see how these patterns play out, and they can still play out. And there's nothing wrong with it, because when it comes up, it only comes up to be seen. So whenever a trigger arises, it's more like, hey, I'm thankful that I'm able to feel this. I'm able to look at it in a more compassionate way. And it's up to me to understand why the things happen the way they happen, so that we can heal. And when we heal that within ourselves, we heal that for our relationships, so that our relationships also can be healthy and based on growth and based on soul evolution. So yeah, I feel this is really deep and honoring. It's really honorable, because you will see and you will kind of create your own character in a way that is more closer to your soul. But you're also not pushing away from where you came from. You actually look at it in a more bigger perspective, and I think that's what we need, because in order to know where we're going, we also need to know where we came from, and not neglect that parts of us, because I feel it's a whole realm that we can actually honor. So I'm really thankful that actually my family, they didn't came from the Netherlands. From my mom's side, they came from Suriname, and my grandpa decided to go for work, go to the Netherlands, and that gave us a lot of opportunities that I would probably not have if that wasn't the case. So when you look at it in that way, you really start to be thankful for the stories that we hold, and to see it in a bigger perspective, a bigger picture. And also, what I said today, that was what I saw today that was resonating with me, was that all of your childhood trauma, the patterns, they will be played out in your most intimate relationships. And I think that is what makes it so interesting, because things will come up they will come up in order for us to heal. So never think that you are going backwards, you're actually going forward with it, because transformation, there's a consciousness within you that has its own evolution, that just wants to heal and wants to create harmony. So it's not so much about running away from the triggers, it's about being thankful. And I think that changes everything when you can see it in that way. And you can have more and more compassion for yourself, to know that you're doing the best you can. So what I said before, I'm really working on mothering myself actually, and being able to say like, hey Jess, you're doing good, even though there might be times there that I talk bad about myself, but I'm doing the best I can, and I feel I'm doing a great job with actually being here and just diving into these patterns, because what we heal for ourselves, we heal for the collective, we heal for our families. So if you think about it in that way, that goes beyond our own imagination. And what we heal for ourselves, think about the children that come after us, that they don't even have to deal with certain things that we had to go through. And that on itself is already amazing. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if you feel that you are discovering this topic for yourself, I would love to know what is actually helping for you and what are you discovering when it comes down to this topic. So thank you for being here, and see you next time.